A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. Today I have two special topics for you guys. The first one is about India and Japan's relationship. We are going to focus on Indo-Pacific region. And the second topic is about Indian Ocean Rim Association. So let's crack on. But before that, I would like to inform all of you that a flat to 50% off is available on our pen drive and Android courses. To find out more about it, do check out StudyIQ.com. And mind you, last date is 12th December. Now, dear friends, Vice President of USA, Mike Pence, is on a week-long tour of Asia, and he shared this vision on Indo-Pacific region. He talked about free and open Indo-Pacific region. So first of all, let's locate Indo-Pacific region. The yellow portion, or this yellow line, is a rough border of Asia Pacific region. As you can see here, the red line is a border, or it's projecting this area of Indo-Pacific. So Indo-Pacific is a big region, and you can understand how important, how big this Indo-Pacific is from this fact that 2/3 of global trade travels through Indo-Pacific region. 2/3, or you can also put it in this way, 66% approx global trade travels through this Indo-Pacific region. So you can understand how important it is, and it is you can say absolutely important that this Indo-Pacific region is not affected, or the trade flow is unimpeded. Each and every nation that is sharing its border with direct, indirect border with this Indo-Pacific region should respect rule of law, particularly UNCLOS, that is United Nations Convention of Law of Sea, and national sovereignty, existing frontiers, and all these things should be respected. And the reason why Vice President is talking about this thing is because South China Sea. Now, South China Sea, if you see here, then it plays a very important, you can say, role in connecting this Indo and Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, or it plays a very important role in this Indo-Pacific region. And we know the behavior of China, right? Expansionist behavior of China is creating a very negative ripple effect for the whole Indo-Pacific region, and this is one of the main reasons why Vice President of USA is talking about Indo-Pacific region and a free and open Indo-Pacific region. Now, Japan is a country, as we all know, right? It is not that far from China. It is sharing a sort of sole relationship with China because of some, this island disputes that are going on between China and Japan, and if something is going wrong with South China Sea, then Japan's trade gets affected, as we have talked about this 2/3 of global trade. So there are so many countries, they will feel this, they will have this negative impact of this China's expansionist theory. So Japan is an interested party as far as this free and open Indo-Pacific region is concerned. Mr. Trump has talked about Indo-Pacific region many times, but I would like to drag your attention to this thing here, that we should not be carried away, because earlier on USA has said that India is a top priority for USA and India is at the core of Indo-Pacific. But later on we find that they have said that ASEAN is at its core, or Vietnam is at its core. So this sort of variation is spotted in Mr. Trump's speech, and you can say USA's approach as well. So we should not just rely on USA here, and of course we are not, but I believe this is a very important point, because if I don't place this view or this thing of USA in front of you, then your understanding of Indo-Pacific as well as role of USA will be bit more inclined towards USA. But when you have this one point, it makes all the difference, right? So we have to stay independent. In fact, we have to take a leadership role here. We cannot just rely on USA, that USA will come and it will sort out everything for us. Now, Japan is responding to China's muscular rise by strengthening its own position in the region, and Japan is doing many various different things, and this enthusiasm of Japan is quite motivating for us as well. But we have to remember that it is not just the job of Japan, or duty of Japan, or duty of India, and duty of USA. To create a peaceful situation here, we have to take on board like-minded countries, particularly democracies like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, there are Indonesia, Australia. All these democracies should come on board, because everyone, right, is a stakeholder when it comes to Indo-Pacific region. Now, positive news coming from India and Japan, or you can say when our Prime Minister was in Japan, his last visit to Japan. At that point of time, both nations talked about this military logistic pact, and how it works or how it will benefit us is that we can use each other's naval bases for top-ups, for fuel, for other things. So it's basically using each other's facilities quite smoothly. So that's an indication of strong partnership or military partnership between India and Japan. We had our 2+2 with USA, so the same format will be applied when it comes to India and Japan's relationship. So this indicates that, again, on political level as well, things are working very well, and we are also going to collaborate and cooperate in we are going to work together in third countries, right? So here we have India and Japan, and the third country will be Myanmar or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka. We are going to work on this infrastructure and other sort of projects together. And our motto is shared security, shared prosperity, and shared destiny. The good thing about this military logistic pact is that we will get, our naval force will get a sort of expansion. Our footprint will be there in Western Pacific as well. So that's a good access for us. At the same time, Japan's footprint will be visible in Indian Ocean region, which is not bad. Now we have this Quad as well. Quad relations are better than they have ever been. Now Quad stands for these four countries. We have, of course, our country India, then we have Japan, we have USA, and then we have Australia. So these four countries, the common thing about these four countries is that all of them, as you know, that they are sharing its border with the Indian Ocean as well as Pacific Ocean. Now, different countries, like say, for example, Australia is a unique country sharing its border with Indian Ocean as well as Pacific Ocean. When it comes to USA, it is just Pacific. When it comes to Japan, it is just Pacific. And when it comes to India, it is just Indian Ocean. So all these four countries are stakeholders. All these four countries are big, powerful countries. All these four countries are democracies. So we have so many things in common. And we have to take some other countries as well, like South Korea. But there are a few, you can say, negative things, or I would not say negative, but I would rather say that there are a few past incidents or historical events that are, that are creating a little bit of bitterness between various different countries. Like when we talk about Japan. So if you go back in history, Japan was a colonial power, and Japan has ruled over South Korea. And when it was ruling over South Korea, Japan has done many bad things over there. So this is something that is not easy for South Korea to forget, and they have a common friend. Of course, India is a common friend, but they have USA as a common friend. And I'm sure USA is going to, take both of them on board, because it is, as we know, that USA is also a stakeholder here. So they have to, means we cannot force the South Korea to forget its history, but at least we need to find a way out. And there are a few challenges going in this region, like say, for example, there are a few other examples, but I'm just going to give you one example, and then when you read other things, then you can find the things for yourself. So I'll give you one example of Sri Lanka. We know that political triangle is going over there, like political instability is there at present in Sri Lanka, and this sort of instability, this sort of weakening of democracy is not good for Indian Ocean as well as Pacific Ocean region. And Japan and India, after China, are the region's most influential countries, and if together we can work as partners, then yes, we can change and we can maintain, at least we can maintain this status quo, and we can make it a bit bit better than what it is now. And we can, I would say that we can throw some weight on China if we are together. So with this, dear friends, we are moving on to our news item. The first one is Mr. Prime Minister's visit to Buenos Aires, that is in Argentina. Prime Minister has delivered a pre-visit, you can say, curtain raiser statement that he is going to attend this 13th G20 summit. G20 seeks to promote multifaceted cooperation among 20 largest groups of world. That's why the name goes G20, group of 20 largest economies. Through the 10 years of its existence, so G20, it's been just 1 decade of its existence. It came out, it was designed after this recession of 2007-8, and the objective is of particular significance of developing countries and emerging economies such as India, which is today the fastest growing large economy in the world. India's contribution to global economic growth and prosperity underlines our commitment to building consensus for fair and sustainable development, which is the theme of this year's G20 summit. Mr. Modi also talked about that he is going to have a meeting with G20 leaders, and he will talk about this past 10 years progress so far. He's also going to talk about future vision and the way through which we are going to move ahead. Emerging economies have played a very important role, particularly in bringing this world out of crisis, and after this financial crisis, it is this economic, this emerging economies like India, China, Brazil, South Africa, and other countries. They played a very important role in providing this space to this wheel of a global economy. And Prime Minister will also talk about fugitive economic offenders, and he will also talk about financing of terrorism and all these negative things that are going on around the world. Now we are going to talk about second item. It is about a book, and this book is called Making of a New India, Transformation under Modi Government. This book was launched by, it was received by Sri Ramnath Kovindji. The first copy was handed over to Ramnath Kovindji, who is our president, by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. And President talked about development under this, Modi government. But the most important thing that he has talked about is this one, that of course government has done every thing that was possible, practically possible, to make sure that we are heading towards or running on this track of development and growth. But this thing is not possible without the zeal with which ordinary citizens have participated, in various different programs, may it be giving away or giving up their subsidies, or helping or providing money, or maybe manpower or shramdan. All these things, makes our country a very beautiful as well as beautiful system. One more thing that I would like to add here, that you can come out with the best policy in the world on paper, but practicality, or if you want to manifest that thing into real world, then for that you need people's cooperation, you need people's participation. So without people's participation, nothing can take place. And this book is edited by Dr. Vivek Debroy, Dr. Anirban Ganguly, and Shri Kishore Desai. Next item, President of India was called by foreign, when I say called, I mean to say that foreign affairs or foreign minister of Maldives met our president at Rashtrapati Bhavan, and we talked about this special, close and friendly relationship. I don't have to say much on this topic, because just a few days ago we were talking about this country, Maldives. I have talked about the full history. When I say full history, I mean to say this, what happened in recent past, what happened in Yemen's government, China factor, Saudi Arabia, relationship with India and all these things, the relationship with Pakistan. And it was the only country that was not visited by our Prime Minister, but now Prime Minister has been there. during this swearing in ceremony of new president of Maldives. So I hope things are clear to you. If you are a new student, then please go through a couple of our past lectures, right, and you'll be up to date with things going on in Maldives. So Maldives has launched this 100-day action plan, and of course they have to sort out so many things. They have to sort out this mess that was created by Yameen's government. Moving on to next item by Vice President, we have a couple of few items here, right, not that important. I have 1 or 2 points here for you guys. Now Vice President was addressing this City Global Textiles Conclave 2018, and he talked about this, that multilateral organizations as well as United Nations and other multilateral organizations, that they have to chalk out a strategy to extradite economic fugitives, right? Those people who take money, borrow money, and they never pay back this money, and when they leave, our country, and when they are living in some other country, then it becomes a sort of lengthy process. Many times it takes ages for us to bring them back. So this is something that is not good for any economy, and we need to work together to sort out this issue. He also talked about this India's competitive advantage, about raw material that is available here, skilled manpower, manufacturing competitiveness, huge spinning, weaving, processing and garment manufacturing facilities. He also talked about this 3 branches. In fact, he talked about these 2 branches, but we are going to form a 3rd one out of it. The thing is that we have even today traditional workmanship, and we also have modern methods, and we have the 3rd branch where you can find your traditional as well as modern methods coming together. So that's a unique skill, that, or you can say unique facility, that you get in India, and we need to explore and exploit this platform. Next item is about Defense Ministry Mission Raksha Gyan Shakti. DRDO, DPSU and OF people, as well as basically these 3 organizations, Defense Research and Development Organization, Defense Public Sector Undertakings, and Ordnance Factories. Together they were here in this Mission Raksha Gyan Shakti. It's basically a celebration. Our Defense Minister felicitated some scientists who have invented and innovated useful products for the nation, and these 3 organizations have resulted in, they have filed IPR applications, intellectual property rights application. So that means innovation is taking place in our country, and it is very important for us to understand this statement of Secretary Defense Production. Most important statement that I find in this news item is this one, that we have to get rid of this culture of seeking transfer of technology from foreign sources, and we have to move towards this self-reliance. We have to stand on our own feet. We need to get rid of this culture that France will provide us something, or Russia will come and provide us something. No, that's not going to help us. What we need is, we need to stand, we need to innovate, we need to invent here in our country, and we can do this thing, of course. Next item, Ministry of Finance, Asian Development Bank, that is also known as ADB, it has signed a 75 million loan deal with our country, and this money will be used for 24/7 water supply in Karnataka's 4 coastal towns, Kundapuru, Mangalore, Puttur and Udupi. And this ADB board approved this program back in 2014. Of course, it takes a bit of time because you have to go through so many things and so many projects and so many things. So modern technology will be used, and water supply, then sanitation infrastructure, strengthening institutions to improve water use efficiency, water resource planning, monitoring and service delivery. All these things will take place under this 75 million loan project. And latest information technology based smart water management system will be used as well to help these 4 coastal states, and this will work like a model for other states of our country in our future projects. Now, dear friends, on your screen you have a region. It is known as IORA, that is Indian Ocean Rim Association. I have a question for you guys. Can you give me the name of these two countries? This one, let's give it number 1 and number 2. So what's the name of number 1 and this number 2 country? The one that you can see on your screen. So you can see here there are so many countries, and all these countries are sharing its border with Indian Ocean, right? Roughly speaking. Then you will find some other name of small seas. So at the end of the day, it is water of Indian Ocean. So that's the reason why these countries are called IORA. So there are so many things, right? Culture, there is, maritime safety and security, trade and investment facilitation, fisheries management, disaster risk management, tourism and cultural exchange, as you can see on the picture here, right? All the things that we are talking about, you will find it on the picture here. Academic, science and technology, blue economy, women's economic empowerment. This Indian Ocean Rim Association is a dynamic intergovernmental organization aimed at strengthening regional cooperation and sustainable development within the Indian Ocean region through its 22 member states and 9 dialogue partners. This meeting took place, the latest meeting took place in Nairobi, that is a big city of Kenya, and it's called Sustainable Blue Economy Conference, and it was this conference is jointly hosted by Canada and Japan as well. Of course, they are this dialogue partners. Now, Indian Ocean region is quite important. I've just given you figures about this Indo-Pacific region, and here you find that just in Indian Ocean 2.7 billion people are living in this region. You have so many important groups, Australasia and Southeast Asia and South Asia and West Asia and Eastern and Southern Africa, and then you have ASEAN, SAARC, GCC and SADC and so many other things. So this region has its potential, as you can understand, and Shri Nitin Gadkari, who is our minister, he said that India endorses the growth of blue economy in a sustainable, inclusive and people-centered manner through the framework of IORA. He also said that blue economy remains a critical aspect of India's economic development agenda, and more than 95% of our trade is being carried on by sea. 95%, that is incoming and outgoing. So this is the reason why IORA is important for us. He also talked about our national vision that was coined by our Prime Minister, that's also known as SAGAR. SAGAR stands for Security and Growth for All in the Region. So we are not just talking about security and growth of our country alone. We are talking about security and growth of all these countries that are part of this region. So we are talking about inclusive growth of IORA, and that's a big, good, positive signal. Prime Minister also talked about this thing, and this was highlighted by our Nitin Gadkari ji. He said that the blue chakra, that is this Ashok chakra that we have in the center of our flag, is, you can also relate that with blue economy. He talked about Sagarmala project or program, and that under the Sagarmala 600 plus projects are identified, and together investment is going to be $120 billion by 2020. This will create or it will save $6 billion per annum worth of logistic costs for India. It will create 10 million new jobs, 800 million metric ton per annum. Our capacity will go up to 3,500 MMTPA. There are some coastal economic zones, and $150 million per location will be invested in this coastal economic zones. Sorry, I said special, isn't it? No, coastal economic zones. And in addition to this, several green initiatives are also being taken, like 31 megawatt of captive solar power generation. Then how we can control in future, if there are any oil spill, then how we can respond and how we can mitigate its negative impact, and reusing wastewater at ports and things like that. Dear friends, you can download the PDF of today's lecture from my FB page and Twitter handle. That's everything in this edition of PIB analysis. Rest assured, in near future I am going to cover this backlog. We have already done with 28th November. So tomorrow I'll bring out the 29th and 30th, and then we will crack on with December. So within a week's time, things will be up to date. Thank you very much for your patience, and I'm sure you are learning so many things from this special topics as well. So do let me know, do write down in the comment section how this special topic is helping you with your capacity building. You can also write it down in my wall, or you can send me a message as well via Facebook. So that's everything. God bless you all. Jai Hind.